All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to session one of our Mindset Building Leaders and Mentor Training series. I'm really excited about this series because leadership is one of those things that sounds great until you realize it requires you are to grow in ways that can sometimes be really uncomfortable, right? Because everyone wants the title of like a manager or a leader. Everyone wants the recognition, like, hey, good job. Especially when things go well, right? But not everyone, but everyone also wants to be seen as someone or treated as someone who they respect. But real leadership isn't about the title or the rank or position or how many people report to you. Leadership actually begins when you decide to take responsibility for your influence, both good and bad. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about tonight is that shift from being someone who simply participates on a team to becoming someone who helps shape a team and a culture. Okay. So I want to just be clear from the beginning because you don't need to have a huge team to start leading or gain influence. Okay. You don't need to have every answer or know every answer. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. I'm certainly not. I'm very introverted and very shy and quiet in general. That's just my natural personality. And you don't always need to feel completely confident or come off as a know-it-all, arrogant, anything like that. But you need to be willing to grow and take responsibility even when things go wrong and mistakes happen, and help those people around you to boost them and their confidence to move forward. And that's where leadership really starts. So tonight we're going to be talking about just the different layers of leadership, like the difference between participating and leading on the team, and why leadership is not so much about control or popularity, because many people still have this stigma around leadership that it's more of like a control and you have to get like angry or be super bossy. And you really don't. And we're also going to talk about how you're already influencing people just alone in your travel business and why self-leadership must come first and what practical actions you can start taking right now or tonight. So by the end of tonight, I want you to stop waiting for permission to really become that leader. So I want you to start recognizing some of that leadership within you and start applying that and practicing it um before it's something you are like officially called as, okay? So before we get started, I want you to think about this question. When you hear the word leader, what kind of person comes to mind? And if you feel comfortable, go ahead and drop that in the chat. It could be the name of a person, it could be a quality, but when you hear the word leader, what kind of person or quality comes to mind?
For me, I think it's there's a difference between a boss and a leader. A boss just dictates and delegates, while a leader takes their team to success. And
Right.
they put in the hard work and but they do it all together. So you're all in together. And if there's failures, I think they take that responsibility because they're the leader, but at the same time, and then when there's success, they hand it off to the whole entire team. For me, that's what
Okay.
stands out.
All right. Yeah, no, absolutely, Janet. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, a leader is definitely someone who leads and brings others with them, right? Josette, they're also a trainer. They teach people other things. They don't just boss people around. Um, Maybe you're also thinking someone who is confident, someone who knows what to do. Maybe, maybe you think maybe you could think there's someone who is able to communicate clearly, someone who is a good communicator, um, respectful, supports others. They remain calm when things get difficult, right? Those are all like really great qualities of a leader, but a lot of people assume leaders are simply born with these qualities or like brought up. Like it's just like a natural thing for them, right? And they look at confident leaders. Like many of us will look at like our platinums or like other leaders in our company and think like they're just naturally good at this. They're more outgoing than me. Like me being an introvert, I see a lot of um like Amy and Emily and all of them, and it's just like because they are like so much more outgoing and I'm so introverted and that's not my personality, so that's a lot of like what's holding me back. But then also like they like leaders have experience, right? And sometimes they know more people, they're better speakers, but um they don't just wake up one morning and they just don't like show up fully developed. Many strong leaders or just leaders in general have become that way through their experience and also by taking action and making those mistakes and just really having those really uncomfortable conversations and working through a lot of the doubt that they've had in themselves. And they've also had moments where they wanted to back away but they've learned to like navigate by doing it and getting through those uncomfortable moments. And a lot of people just think like leadership is reserved for extroverts, but it's not necessarily reserved for extroverts or the most successful people in the room. Leadership is a skill set and a mindset that can be trained, learned, and developed. Okay. So I want to start by looking at the difference between being a team member and actually being a leader. So, what do you think the difference between being a team member and being a leader on our team that we currently have is?
I think a team member just probably at this point learns, but also one who could take leadership would know the answer, but even if they didn't, they would find out, like from others, just to help the other members out, especially new ones. Like in our powerhouse team, I'm in Team Powerhouse.
Hmm.
There's always new members. You make them, you welcome them, and they're all excited for it because you were once there. 2 months
Hmm.
ago, I was in that same shoes, but now you know a little bit more than than you did when you started in your first week. So I think
Right.
that's for me, that's the difference where you could just go, oh, scroll, 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 and not really input it all, even though you know the answer. You're like, I don't care, your mom, but there's then that leadership where you're like, you know what? I was once there, and they're probably lost or frustrated. I know the answer to that, so let me answer. And if I'm wrong, then somebody else can correct me because I might steer them the wrong way. That makes sense.
Right. Exactly, Jeanette. Thank you. So like that level of knowing, right? Because like new team members, exactly when they come in, they're just kind of like, what do I do here? What's expected of me? What am I doing? Who's going to help me? What training should I attend? Especially since there's so many. Um, but there's nothing wrong with being in that position. All of us start out there, right? And sometimes those new agents, those new members need kind of like that reassurance that, hey, like this is totally normal because all of us begin there and all of us begin somewhere. Every leader was once that new person asking the same questions, learning systems, and just really trying to figure things out. But also, like team members who go through that, you can start picking out like their motivation and leadership qualities and stuff because you have like some of those agents who will ask that question and they will still go out and find the answer themselves, even if they ask it in the chat. Um, but like, because that leadership, like it requires a bit of a shift. Like leaders begin asking like what needs, but kind of like building off like what Jeanette said is like you like as a leader still go in the chat and like help the new members, right? But you as a leader you begin starting to shift and start asking what needs to be done, who needs support, how can I help improve this? Noticing those gaps of like the trainings that haven't been done, or maybe like this particular question is getting a lot or asked a lot in the chat. There's not really much of a current or recent training on it, so let me go in and do one. Okay, let me set up a training kind of thing.
I
Um,
noticed. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you can go ahead, Gisette. What's going on?
I noticed that I started a Google Classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and so I set up the steps instead of just slamming them with everything. I set up a little Google Classroom. I explained to them, I don't want to overload you. I want you to take your steps.
Mm-hmm.
There will be messenger chat for you, and but please don't get overloaded and just do your steps, take your time. And I'm noticing that they really have not, like, a couple will ask me questions but not really been like, if they do listen to me, they don't really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't pay attention to me and don't take those steps, then they're all over the place.
Right.
So that's my, you got those good ones that will listen to me, take every steps, work accordingly, and then they go on to their own. And then you have those other ones that don't listen, and then they're all over the place. So that's been the hard part of having the ones to listen, to take every step. And I mean, it has been really good, but that's my issue. The ones that tend to go off, I'm trying to keep them. I don't know how to keep them prepared. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit later, okay?
Okay.
But one thing I love about what you said is you've already kind of made that leap or that movement into a leadership mindset because um you're asking yourself for just that general question of how can I make this easier for the next person? Because all of us had, depending on like when we came in and stuff, all of us had a different process, a different step by step or whatever. And as a leader, especially when you start bringing on a team of your own, you want to make it easier for them than it was for you, right?
Yeah.
Especially and like incorporate your own experience in there. And that's like a major mindset change because a participant and like a lot of these new team members when they come on, they're waiting for that direction, but you as a leader, you're noticing where that attention needs to go. And because those participants are like those team members who come to us, they're focusing on like what they currently know. Like when all of us come into the travel industry, it's like, oh, well, maybe we book travel for ourselves or like for a family member or something. But getting over to the travel agent side, it's a whole other experience, especially when we start getting clients that we have like no idea who they are, right? And us as leaders, we start paying attention to those experience and sharing that experience with other agents to help make it a little bit easier for them. Um, and also, like we start like checking on other members, right? Because like there are people in my team, or sorry, there are people who are not under me and not on my team, but I will still go and like check in on them every so often just because I've connected with them really well or I see them putting in the effort. Um, and I want to know that, they feel supported outside of like the team that they or like their mentorship. Okay. Because like I don't ever want like another agent to feel like they're left behind. And I mean, all of us, I'm sure, have that experience to where it's like maybe you connect really well with your mentor, but there are just other people on the team as well that you better connect with. And I mean, that's what we want as a whole is for someone to get plugged in and connected somewhere that they feel comfortable. Um, and just remember that like we all remember what it's like to feel new, but then as you grow and like as you move throughout the industry, sometimes that gets a little lost or like that feeling just doesn't feel as familiar anymore. So checking in on especially a new agent, it can just be really humbling sometimes. Because you'll get new agents sometimes that will say like, no one really explained this clearly, or I don't really understand. And you as a leader can come in and say, yeah, I struggled with this or something similar to it. And you can help create a simpler explanation or version that could then help them and then maybe someone else down the road as well. Um, I come across agents every so often, especially in our chat, that are just like, hey, haven't heard from my mentor. I don't feel included. I'm ready to quit kind of thing. And also that's where you can swoop in and help them feel included and re-welcome them and just because a lot of that when they don't feel included and they feel lost, they're lacking a lot of that leadership and confidence. And sometimes someone coming in can help them like just navigate through that every so often. Because leadership is that point where you stop um asking, like only asking like what the team can do for you, and you start asking what can you do to strengthen the team, and you just and that your mindset shifts away from like more of a selfish point of view. Okay. You start like wanting to reach out and like better others and bring them up to your level. So, a little reflection question. So just we're gonna all pause and think for a second. Where are you still waiting for someone else to step in? Like you personally, is there an area, whether it's in your personal life or your business, where are you still waiting for someone else to like step in? It could be you're waiting for someone to motivate you, especially on your bad days. It could be you're waiting for someone to invite you into a training. Like I know Jeanette, you and I have talked about doing a kind of like a networking or like I don't want to call it a boot camp because it's not a boot camp. Stuff like
A
that.
meetup. I'm planning, girl. I was
Yeah.
just gonna hit you up tonight on that. We're do it. And I just found out you're an introvert, so it's okay because I'm an extrovert. I will make friends even with the chair.
Oh,
So
perfect. I feel like we'd be a great team doing that. Um, but yeah, it could also be like where um you're waiting for someone to recognize your ability or maybe hand you that opportunity. It could even be like you're just waiting to feel more qualified. Whatever it is, you can write it down, you can share it, because identifying like where you're waiting instead of stepping forward, that can also help you identify that area where you're still beating yourself up and we don't want you to beat yourself up over it. We just want you to I want to help you make yourself more aware of it because you cannot change what you refuse to recognize. Like for me, I know I have the ability and everything, but it's like I needed um a mentor or a leader to come to me and say like, Rachel, you can do this. You have like da 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 da. And they didn't necessarily like hand me the opportunity, but like they provided like that extra boost, that confidence to like help me see the ability that I actually had that I was refusing to recognize. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is believing that leadership begins when someone gives them a title. Like a lot of people think like, oh, well, once I'm a manager, I'm going to be um, a leader. Once I become a mentor, once I get my first team member, I'm going to be a leader. Um, Whatever. But that title does not create the leaders. The title reveals who the leader actually is, okay? Because you can give someone a title, but that doesn't mean people are actually going to trust them. And you can give someone authority, but that doesn't mean that people are going to respect them. Okay, I can 100% say that, especially in my classroom. Like just because I'm a teacher and it's my classroom, my second graders, it's like unless I give them that reason and like that standing to respect me and that relationship for them to start trusting me. Like they don't care if I'm a teacher in the classroom or another student. Like there's a line in there. Because you can put someone in charge, but it doesn't mean that like other people, like whether they're students or agents, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that they're going to feel safe to follow you, okay? Leadership is leadership really comes before that title because people start noticing before they really even know who you are, how you behave, and Um, and they notice how you behave before they will ever call you a leader because they even like on social media, even though we're not like talking to people directly, through your post and the way you show up and like the words that you put out there, they're going to notice of whether you're trustworthy, like can you keep your word? Do you show up consistently? Do you speak respectfully to others, like especially like leaving other comments and going back and forth? Do you take responsibility for your mistakes? And also like your demeanor, I guess, when like you go with it, like are you pointing fingers or blaming other things, or are you taking that responsibility for when mistakes happen? Um, with Are you helping other people without expecting anything in return? And are you staying calm under pressure? Do you encourage people? Like all those things, like your behavior and how you show up, even on social media, even just over a simple word post without your face or pictures or anything like that, people are able to read and analyze that as and start realizing if you're a leader and someone they want to trust and follow. And because that decision is really is what's going to like either propel them forward or hold them back. And those words also create your influence. And it's also like that core of the influence between your attitude and your words because your influence you influence people through your attitude, through your consistency and also what you say. You influence people by how well you tolerate certain things, how you celebrate them, how you model, um, and go about. Because I mean, granted, like, okay, for like a really good example, like if you're team building or if you're booking and you have an agent that comes to you and is like, hey, I'm having trouble booking, and you're just like, oh yeah, just do this, this, and this. But you yourself are not doing it, then your agents are not going to trust your influence nor your advice as much as hearing it from someone who is actually doing the do, okay? Because our agents are looking at our pages, they're looking at what we do to model what they're going to do because they're going to model like even though like your success is not based off your mentor, your agents are going to find a starting point and the starting point is going to be you. Okay? So when you step into that leadership role, don't ask yourself, am I influencing people? You need to flip that question to what kind of influence am I having on other people? Is your influence a team that is positive? Is it a team that is negative? Is it a team where you and them are just constantly complaining? Are you gossiping? Are you prepared? Are you encouraged? Are you being held accountable? Are you holding others accountable? Um, and because when you show people through your actions, you're showing them of what you deem as acceptable and what excuses you're going to allow through the door. Like you are that influence, you are setting that culture and everything that's in the room and the chat and like how you're setting that example of how you're wanting them to like build their business, okay? And that leadership is happening of whether you're really intentional about it or not. All right. Um, and so just really quick, um, I just want you to write down the names of three people who you are currently influenced by. Like it could be um someone newer than you. It could be another agent, it could be a friend, a family member, a celebrity. But like who are three people that you go to ask questions, that you watch what they're doing, or that you go to for advice.
I know that's a lot of I've been in in management for years, and and then now, and I've been an employee the last few years, and I've came on board to a lot of areas that where the people are just like that, what you were talking about.
Hmm.
They're not organized. They're not I always say they don't have the interest to improve the job or their lifestyle in the job.
Hmm.
And it kind of brings everything down. So I know this one lady I was working with, and she was just starting, and she started off with a couple of $100,000 a year. I was helping her make. Within 5 years, I helped her make $3 million a year.
Gosh, that's
So
amazing.
and it's all with positivity and working with a sole positive mind. And even like the job that I'm on now, um, some people have been there for like 10, 15 years. And I came on board a year and a half ago,
Hmm.
and I've already got it promoted up to a different department. And but when I was in the other department where I started off, I was helping out, I was doing this, I was doing that, helping to make sure everything was perfect and improved, serving the clients. Clients loved me, customers were really lined up, in service and everything like that. And people just like, why do you do that? I was like, what do you mean? You don't have to wait up, you don't have to do that, you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that. I says, it's not like I have to do it. That's just the way I am
Hmm.
you know. And so next thing you know, I'm getting a bonus up and everything like that. And it's just a year and a half. And so you have to really be interested in what you're doing and just I just say if you just love life.
Hmm. Aw, thanks for sharing, Jewel. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, Josette, helping you like to help others, but also like I feel like what helps a lot is that you have the passion to see other people succeed and you share
Mhm.
like that passion with other people as well.
Exactly. Yes. I just like to I told them they says, well, it's not, they're rich already. And I says, well, I just like to see progress and I like to see success.
Hmm.
And it just makes me happy to see it and that I'm a part of it. And so
Oh, you'll make a great leader, Jewel. You already are. Um, but yeah, but it's like you're encouraging and also it sounds like you're dependable and you're
Mhm.
honest and you're
Yes.
motivating, like you pick them up and you push them forward, whether it's a good day or a bad day, and
Mhm.
you support them on the good days and the bad days. Um,
What you need to
and
do.
just maintaining that positivity. Because I mean, we'll all have like our negative and complaints and like our low moments and stuff, but then being able to like lift them up and flip it and turn like their negative into a positive, that's gonna help them um a lot, especially like see their potential that they may have not yet um uncovered and just being honest about it. Because like
Mhm.
one of like the hardest things I feel like is becoming a leader is like a lot of like leaders like want to make people happy. Well, sometimes being honest and like telling that truth is not necessarily what other people want to hear.
Yes.
But being a leader is, having those uncomfortable conversations and bringing to light what others may be nervous or scared or not wanting to say, okay? It's not about, because at the end of the day, it's not pretending that we are perfect. It's about becoming intentional and helping others like just improve themselves like we want to improve ourselves along the way, right? So some
Exactly.
people like they want to become leaders because they want control and they want people to listen to them. They want um to be the person that has like all the answers and they want to be recognized as like super important. And that's just really not leadership. I view that as more of like an insecurity wearing like leadership as a costume, okay? Because leadership is not controlling every decision or forcing people to do things a certain way.
Right.
And especially here, it's like, I mean, I'll get those agents every so often that are like, well, do I have to do it your way? And I'm just like, no, you don't have to do it my way. I'm just giving you a very step by step. I encourage you to follow it, at least like as you're starting. And especially if they're new to the travel industry, they haven't really done a whole lot with it yet. It's like, yeah, this is a good place to start, but I can't, but not forcing or like making sure that they do it like exactly by the book, right? Um, because like you don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but you also don't want to make other people feel small so you can feel more important either. Okay. It's not um because you don't want people who are going to depend on you forever, and you want to have like that healthy leadership balance to help people grow in confidence and independence. Kind of like I think it was Josette that was saying, like you know who the people who are going to listen to you are and who are not, and you even though those people who don't listen to you, you want to eventually like build that influence with them so they can grow in confidence and independence and start like navigating that themselves. And um oh, also like another thing is like when people come to you, um a strong leader doesn't really say, "Do you need anything?" Sorry, do you need me for anything? Like you don't want to put you at their disposal, right? Um, you want to boost them and say, I want to help you feel more capable. If you have any questions, I'm here to assist you. Okay. This is like one of the biggest differences between leadership and control because asking them um, like you need me, what do you need from me, kind of things like that, it creates a dependence. And leadership is helping you develop people, um, and grow to find themselves and what's going to be successful for them. And just saying, like, let me help you understand how to like think through this if you need me. Rather than being like, well, like let me give you the answer. Like as a leader, you don't want to give them the answers. You want to like navigate them too. So then they can also learn through the process. Um, Sorry, I just had a brain fart. My bad. Um, oh, because just like us in leadership, and as like all of us are growing our leadership skills, we are stretching ourselves, and the new agents that come in, we need to stretch them at like a healthy pace, healthy boundary distance, right? You don't want to build a team who can't function without you, because that's really draining, right? We don't want to create a team that's gonna like who like constantly has to depend on us. We want to um lead and also develop our agents into leaders themselves. Okay. So sorry, I'm reading Henry's comment. It says, I'm not a leader yet. I just get an email from Zooms and I join, but I like a leader. Like as a leader. Oh, thank you. Oh, you guys are amazing. Okay. So again, leadership is not a popularity contest, okay? Not everyone is gonna like you. I have agents on my team that them and I just never talk because they have made it like pretty clear. It's just like they don't like my blunt, direct honesty. Especially like, but they know they can do it and they're bookers, they're very good at what they do. I'm just not the approach that they prefer, and they've have connected better with other people on our team, and that's totally fine. Um, and it doesn't disappoint me because they're seeing success, and they've come to me for other things. They've hopped on a couple of my trainings, and I'm still kind and I'm still supportive, and I keep them updated in my emails and all, and I communicate to them respectfully because at the end of the day, I still have very good intentions for them, but some people will still misunderstand you, and some people will just not connect with you as well. And that's okay because some people will not like your boundaries, some people will not like being held accountable, some people will not like to hear the truth that you have to tell them. Because but also it's like leadership is not a popularity contest, okay? Um, and even if you have an agent that doesn't like you, don't be rude to them or cold or arrogant or um anything like that because you just want to like leave that door open and keep that communication open. So if they as you have that influence and they see you comment and they see you do other things within the team, maybe they'll come back to you. Um,
You know what? I agree
mhm,
completely with you. I do tell my team, I say, because they go, I'm sorry for asking so many questions, or I'm sorry for calling, or I'm sorry. And I said, this is what I'm here for. It's okay. I'm here for you. But I agree, but being blunt, I would love that. Like,
mhm,
I think that's the best because you want somebody to tell you no, put you straight and narrow. You want that truthfulness. So I don't know. I don't know. I would have loved it. But
mhm,
I'm a little different. But I just I think that we do take that, like, it's okay. Call me, because if we want to be leaders, I think we, go ahead and call me as much as you want. That's why I'm here for you. I do kind of stay hours sometimes talking to my team, but it's that's what I signed up for. I
mhm.
feel. But I think I agree with you. I like the bluntness. I love it.
Thank you, Josette. Yeah, it's in all honesty, it took me a while to get there. I'm naturally that way by nature, but when I like really started like stepping into the classroom and especially stepping in as a travel agent and as a new leader, I'm just kind of like, yeah, sure, I guess I can work. And like I was nervous to be blunt and or like really honest with agents, especially when they're like, I'm 2 months in, I didn't have a booking, and then we like go through things together, or it's like, hey, what are you doing? And it's just like, well, I haven't done anything yet, and it's just like, oh, okay, like, no, like you need to be like blunt and honest. It's like, well, this is why you're not getting a booking, and like, don't feel like, d definitely don't do it in like a mean, aggressive, or like you're stupid, kind of way. Um, you want to be still like really humble with them, but you also don't want to hide the truth of like, well, because you're not doing anything and you're not talking to people, this is like why you're not, right? Okay, so you want to also like if you have a fallout or a disagreement or you mistell, misrelay some information or something, don't hesitate to say like, hey, I made a mistake and just own it because that um for some people it's challenging, but other people need to see it because it's very encouraging. It takes a lot for someone, whether you're a team member or a leader, to really admit your mistakes. And just like we have to admit our mistakes sometimes to clients, you also need to do it for your team members. Um, and also letting your team members know the times that you have made mistakes and those consequences of your mistakes as well, so then they can also learn off of you and increase your influence, of course. Um, Also, you don't need to know every answer to everything. Okay, that's part about making mistakes and then also being forthcoming and owning it, right? Because a lot of new leaders, and I especially for me, I feel pressured sometimes to know everything. I have a couple agents who they book things that I don't really have an interest in, with suppliers that I still am not registered with. And um when that first happened to me, I felt like super, super pressured, like, oh, I need to start becoming interested in this now so I can help them. And um, you don't really have to do that, honestly. It's you can help navigate them through it, but you can also like we are on a team, we're in a network, and you can point them in the direction of someone who knows way more than you do about this. I mean, if you want to take the time and like learn alongside with them, you can absolutely do that. Um, and there's been a couple agents that I've done that with, but have I done it with every single agent? No, I haven't. And yeah, sometimes that will make new agents angry, but also if you point them in the right direction of like, hey, this is someone who can better help you and who has more time to commit to it, like if they connect really well with that person, that can also help you a lot as well. Because you don't need to pretend that you have every answer. Because a good leader says, I don't know, but let me find out. I want to make sure I give you accurate information. And let me connect you with the right resource because you're still learning that too, or you just haven't gotten to learning around to learning it yet, right? Because pretending you know everything destroys that trust faster than admitting that you did not know something. Okay. People don't expect perfection from you, they expect honesty. You don't need to be 10 steps ahead of someone to help them. You only need to be one step ahead to help someone else. Okay. You can say, like, just by saying I struggled with that too, here's what I've learned. I haven't mastered that or really had any intention to like even learn that. But here, let me help you at least like navigate through some of this. Let's work through it together. Like, no matter which one of those approaches you want to go through, it's still leadership because we know, because we also need to talk about the part of people that sometimes like we just as leaders want to skip, right? Um, you can't lead others effectively and you can't always help other people, especially when it comes to new things that you haven't explored yet. Um, if you can't, how do I want to say this? Like if you can't lead yourself, okay? You can't expect consistency from others if you are consistently unreliable. You can't expect people to communicate clearly if you're continuing to avoid the messages that keep popping up on your phone. And you can't teach accountability while you're making excuses for your excuses, right? And you can't ask people to grow when you keep holding yourself back. Because that self-leadership is what's really going to help um with your responsibility and trust building. Um, because like that self-leadership means taking that responsibility for your attitude, your habits, your communication, your commitments, your reactions, your prep, like your preparations. Sorry about the beginning of this training, by the way. Um, and also like how you follow through and your personal development. And also like um, this self-leadership, it's not just for your team members either. It's not just for your team members, it's also for your clients. Okay. Your attitude with your clients, your habits, your communication, your follow through, your preparation for them, all the things. It also flows into the client side because how you go through this with your clients is also going to dictate whether they come back and book with you. Okay. So it's a hand in hand kind of thing. It doesn't mean you ever have to struggle and it doesn't mean you can't ever have a bad day though. You can still have an overwhelming life, but it means that you need to stop using every difficult season as permission to abandon your responsibility. Because there's a difference between needing support and refusing that ownership. And there's a difference between taking a rest and quitting. And there's a difference between struggling and figuring something out and making excuses. Because as a leader myself and as a teacher, I can say that I'm having a difficult week and I've had to make adjustments to my commitments and my schedules. But instead of disappearing, instead of just like completely dropping them or neglecting them, I just make like tweaks for them to like still to figure out like how I can still get done what I still need to get done. How can I fit in this to still accomplish it? Um, you can't just like just because you're going through a difficult season or a difficult week, you can't just drop the ball. And um because then when people come to you or your client comes to you and they say, I need help, you can't just pretend that everything is fine or you got it or ignore it or whatever. You, it's okay if you don't have that perfection, but you still need to have that honesty, responsibility, and make the necessary adjustments to keep moving forward. It can go from like a cheetah to a snail's pace, but you still have to keep moving forward and being there whether it's your client or your team member when they need you. Um, and so we're going to do a little self-auditing, okay? And I want you to think for a second about how you would rate yourself from a one to a five. So the one means this area needs some serious work, okay? And then the five is going to mean this is currently like one of your strengths. So if you have a pencil or paper, feel free to like jot these answers down, or you can also drop them in the chat. So I'm gonna just say a few words, and you're gonna rate yourself for each word. One being you need serious work in this area, or a five meaning like you believe this is one of your strengths. Okay. So I want you to rate yourself on the word consistency. I want you to rate yourself on the word communication. I want you to rate yourself on the word follow through, time management, emotional control, preparation, accountability, willingness to learn, availability to receive feedback, and availability to keep commitments. I see some hundreds in there. Okay, now look at your ratings and identify what is your lowest area, because that may be the area that needs your attention before you try to take on more responsibility. Part of building that leadership is magnifying your habits. And if you are disorganized right now, your responsibility now is going to magically make you more organized. Like, how are you going to make yourself more organized? If you're just, or sorry, if you're avoiding conflicts right now, your responsibility is now going to make a lot of those conflicts disappear or figure out how to navigate them. If you're struggling with follow through, having more people depend on you will make that problem more and more visible. Leadership is not going to help you hide your weaknesses. It's going to start revealing them. So by identifying them, you're going to be able to start to work on them. Because and some of this might make you start saying like, I'm not ready to lead because of some of those flaws and stuff that you may have identified. But I also want you to be honest with yourself, because these are skills that you need to develop. And if you don't want to develop them in Archer Evolution, there are other areas of your life that by developing these skills, you're going to grow. Because if you're developing these skills as a leader in Archer Evolution, you're also lacking these skills in other areas of your life. These are skills that are going to help you develop and improve, and these also may be the experiences that you need to go from I'm not ready to I'm ready. Okay. From I'm afraid to I don't want to fail to people judge me to like I don't want people to judge me, right? And I want to feel confident before I act. Because confidence usually does not come before action. Confidence comes from the action. We all hear a lot of agents that say, like, what do they say? I just drew a blank. That like they're scared to post, right? And as a leader, you need to get them comfortable talking to other people and getting on social media and posting, even if it's just like a word post, no picture, whatever it is. And because a lot of that confidence is going to come from doing what they're scared to do. And if we're not brave enough to do that as leaders, as ourselves, then how are we going to motivate someone else to do it? Okay. You have to do something that's uncomfortable, and I promise you, you're gonna survive it. It's not gonna kill you. It hasn't killed anyone yet that I'm aware of, okay? You're gonna survive it, you're gonna learn from it, and you're gonna improve, and you're gonna help someone later down in the road in the process, okay? But you need to become more confident in the areas that you're lacking to help others grow. And waiting until you feel completely ready is um a very effective way to really never begin or develop yourself as a leader. And I don't want you to feel like, oh, well, I have to be fearless or whatever. The goal is to act responsibly even when you're nervous. Okay? You do not need to become a leader by thinking about leadership. You just need to become a leader by practicing it. Okay? Even when the opportunity presents itself, okay? So, here's the mindset shift for this session, okay? So, some of you on here may be having that mind shift, or if you're watching the replay, if you find yourself thinking, I will lead when I feel ready, I'll go out and find a team member, someone I want to mentor when I feel ready. We're going to start shifting that mindset to say and tell ourselves, I become ready by practicing leadership now. I've become ready by practicing leadership and putting a post out there on social media, letting others know about this opportunity. And I want you to write that down and read it again and again and again until it's ingrained in your brain. Okay. I become ready by practicing leadership now, whatever that now means to you, or how, whatever that how means to you, whether that's a social media post or a reel or just having a conversation with someone at McDonald's, whatever it is. I had this um conversation at Home Depot 2 weekends ago when I was there. The lady who was like doing the survey thing or whatever, she her and I just like struck up a conversation as I was filling the thing out, and I just handed her my card, said, "Hey, I'm a travel agent. If you and your family are like ever thinking about or are taking a vacation within the next year, I'd love to get with you guys and help you out." And her and I just started talking about a Disney trip, but she's like, I didn't know they existed anymore. Are people still travel agents? And I just presented her with the opportunity, right? She hasn't hopped on to like one of our informational meetings yet, but at least I planted the seed and she has my card and we also have ways to follow up with each other. So sometimes that's all it is. Um, just practicing your leadership in small ways. You can welcome someone in new to your circle, just like the example I gave you. You can also follow up with people. You can share useful resources. You can share your experience. You can volunteer help, all those kind of things. But also like be sure you have those qualities and those values ingrained. Like you keep your word. Like if you say you're going to follow up with them on Sunday, follow up with them on Sunday, okay? Apologize when necessary, ask questions, be dependable and trustworthy. Like be that leader that um you want, how do I want to say this? Like be that leadership. Like if you were looking for a leader, if you're looking for a mentor, like be that leader that you would expect to be, okay? Or respect to receive. Yeah, I hope I said that right. Um, okay. So just let's walk through a quick scenario before you hop off tonight, okay? So let's say a new agent joins your team, okay? A lot of new agents, when they join our team, they see overwhelmed and they're not sure quite where to begin, okay? And um, sometimes when you take too long to respond to a new agent, they start going in like three different directions, okay? So what is something that you're gonna say to this agent who just signed on? Or maybe they're second guessing themselves on like, did I even make this right choice? Like, what am I doing right now? What are you gonna say to that person?
I always tell them my experience. I said it takes time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't be like the way I started. This is what I said to the person who just joined.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm the type of person, and I know you are too, to just soak in all the information like a sponge. Don't do it this way. Take it one bite at a. How do you finish a sandwich? You don't shove it in your mouth, all of it. You just one bite at a time. That's what you do with the videos. And they're like, no, that's good. Okay. And I said, and then whenever you feel overwhelmed, just reach out and we'll follow the guidelines together and all that. So I said, one at a time, be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. So like also acknowledge that they're feeling overwhelmed, okay? Um I just had a new agent sign on today and she was just like, I don't know if I made the right decision or not. And I'm just like, it's okay. Like assured her that there's like a 10-day money back guarantee thing. I'm gonna send her the new agent packet to look over and we just had like a very like chill conversation, right? Just like this isn't something that you have to like swallow in a day. You can like take it little bits at a time and you also have time to think um of whether this was like really a good fit for you or not, right? Um, but like coming off, you want to come off as supportive. You don't want to like rescue them or like hold on to them for dear life or like have them think like you're their life raft, okay? Um, so yeah, I really liked how you had that conversation with them, Janet. And then when you got off the phone, did they seem okay?
It was funny because I kept saying, the first time he was like, "Where do I sign up?" I'm like, "No, dude, chill. Let's go have an appointment. You need to talk to your wife. You are one. Every decision you make, don't act emotional." We've known each other since we were in junior high.
Oh wow.
And so that trust is there. And his wife's like, "You trust her? Look how successful, how many businesses has she has? She's rich." And I'm like, "No, I'm not rich." I was just like that. But
Hmm.
and then I spent the weekend at whatever time he was. He's like, talk, and we an hour, and it went to 2 hours. And every question I said, if you come up, and he had more questions this morning for me, and he's like, "Send me the link. Where do I sign up? Where do I?" I was like, "Chill out, hold on, let me." But I love it because he's still on what, like he's like, "I can't wait to share." He had all these ideas, so he's super super excited, and I'm excited for him to start.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you have that. Because yeah, I get kind of a mix. Like I get some who are like that as well, but then I also get some who I guess are younger, are newer, are just like, this seems like a good idea. And they need a bit more encouraging conversations. Okay. Um, okay, so I don't want you to feel leave like I don't want you to feel like you have to leave here tonight and launch like a whole new training or create like this massive program or like all these posts or whatever, or start like giving off motivational speeches like in the grocery store or Home Depot or whatever, okay? Start small. Just start small. Leadership this week could look like if you have a team, even if it's one member, check on someone who's been quiet. Welcoming in someone new, sharing a resource that has helped you, volunteering your assistance with something, um, following through on a commitment, asking someone like, oh, this is something I do with a lot of my agents too. It's like every once in a while I'll send them a text and I'm like, hey, how can I support you this week? Especially those quiet agents. Ask them how can you support them? Um, yeah, just to let them know that you're there to support them and they can still come to you and ask questions. And also a lot of like agents, they don't really know that they're lost or they feel like they're done. I don't know where yeah, but they just feel like they're done and just like reaching out and asking them like, how can I support you? They're just kind of like, I get some strange responses sometimes, but you can also help get them unstuck. Um, You can encourage someone who's being discouraged. They don't even have to be an agent of yours. They can be just an agent on our team, but also take responsibility for a mistake, whether it was a mistake with an agent or a client. Um, don't like make it right. Just make it right. Speak positively about the team. Maybe drop something in the chat. Say something positive that you saw or like. Complete something without being reminded. I mean, if your phone reminds you and you like set that reminder yourself, thumbs up to you, kudos. I have multiple reminders on my phone because I forget things a lot. And then you could also help solve a problem instead of pointing it out. That's also part of being a good leader is like when people come to you with a problem or if there's a problem that drops in the chat, help solve it. Don't just point out like the other elephant in the room or whatever, okay? But those small actions are just a few examples of how you can build not only your leadership credibility, but also your influence. whether it's over your agents or your clients. And a little challenge for you guys this week, probably over the next couple weeks, okay? Is take ownership of one area without being asked. And if you don't know what area you want to start taking ownership in, go back to that rating scale um quiz, not quite quiz, assessment that we did earlier and just choose one of those, maybe it's your lowest one, to help not only grow you, but also help grow someone else as well. And if you're not quite sure how to do that, you can reach out to someone else. You can reach out to your mentor. You can, there's just a whole bunch of different ways, guys. You can even watch a YouTube video. Like, um, there's literally everything on YouTube. A lot of what I've learned about leadership, I've attended some masterminds, but I also really like watching TED Talks. And there's this mindset counselor guy who does this podcast, and he's also on YouTube. And he's great for developing leadership skills as well. So yeah, the key is to also not really do leadership for praise. Don't do anything for leadership or build a team because you want people to like put you on a pedestal or anything like that, or because you want people to notice you. Um, you want you want to like it's because you want to have like that passion and joy to see other people succeed as well. So and then after you complete that challenge, write it down, like what you did, what how the person responded, what you learned, or like what you did differently. Um, and yeah, drop it in the chat. Let me know how things are going. So before we close, just I want you to keep like these three questions in mind, okay? And if you feel comfortable, you can drop them in the chat too. Um, where am I currently acting more like a sorry, where am I currently acting more like a participant than a leader? What kind of influence am I having on the people around me, especially the people on our team? And what is one leadership action that I can take this week? Okay, I just gave you a few ideas, but something to think about as you're going to bed tonight. And I'll drop these in the chat too. Okay. And don't choose 10 things, just choose one and build off it. Leadership requires that growth and consistency, not random bursts of motivation, even though I feel like some days that is exactly what I do. Okay, so also just remember you don't need permission to become an active to become a leader. You don't need permission to become a leader. You don't need a title to become more dependent, and you don't need a rank to encourage someone. You also don't need a team to practice responsibility. You can do that all by yourself. You can do that with your family. You can do that with your clients, okay? You also don't need every single answer to help someone. You just need to be like one step ahead of them. Maybe it's like, and just share your experience with it, okay? Leadership is ultimately when you decide that your presence will make the people and space around you better. It begins when you stop waiting to be noticed and start becoming trustworthy. And it begins when you stop asking only, what can I get from it? And you start asking, what can I contribute? So this week, I really challenge you to pay attention to the influence that you are putting out there. And I want you to pay attention to your habits, how you communicate, and whether people can actually depend on you, because that leadership begins before that title. And it begins when the choices you make, and it begins with the choices you make when no one is clapping for you. All right, everyone. Thank you for showing up for session one. Okay. And the next session, it's probably going to be within a couple weeks. It'll come out with the September schedule and calendar, okay? I'm planning on talking about building leadership confidence and how to lead even when you're still learning and doubting yourself and just really feeling unqualified. So until then, I want you to take ownership, follow through, and practice your leadership now.